Okay, I am opening the IntelliJ. So we have learnt about checked exceptions, unchecked exceptions, and also our own exception, defining our own exception. Right. So let's learn few more internals of exceptions. Class new PQR. SVM space yes out sort right block int I equal to integer dot parse int of some quantity. Okay. Now s out of a. So as soon as we write the catch block immediately after the try block. This is the very important thing. There should not be any other statements between the try block and the catch block. See, this is where the try block ends, right? If you put the pointer here, automatically you will see the ending bracket here. 1 second, guys. Back. So I was saying we should not keep anything between try and catch block. Okay. So here, for example, I don't know what exception can happen here. It's not the null pointer exception or it's not the arithmetic exception that we learned, right? So if you don't know any exception, you can straight away put the simple exception E. Sort of E dot get message. Okay. Now I'll write a sort of and here I'll write another sort inside catch block. Okay. Here I can write another S out where it says inside try block. Right. Here I'll write one more thing. Probably put it here. Try block end. So now you tell me what will be the output. Assume that there is no exception here. I had put the try block immediately after the try block. I had added the catch block. After the catch block, I am putting another yes out. Let's try to run the program and see the output. You see, start inside try block and then try block end. After that, value I is what? How are we getting the value of I equal to 123? That is because integer dot parse int of 123. Here if you notice, I am giving 123 as a string. I am converting that number which is in the string format to integer format. For that I am using this way. So this integer we had learnt in the wrapper classes. So those classes have some inbuilt methods. One of that such method is parse int. Okay, so 1 2 3 I'm passing as a string, and then it is getting converted as a int, right? We have got the try block end, and then the value of I, there is no exception happened. So when there is no exception happens, it will not go inside the catch block, it will continue the execution, that is the s out of end. Any confusion here? I'm going to copy the same thing, write another program with some minor difference. Here I will say ABC. Can we convert what was I saying earlier in this line, especially close others?
Integer converted to string.
Right, that was the meaning that we learned. Right, I'll put it vertically. So here we are passing the number in the string format. So obviously, when you pass the number in the string format, if you want to convert it to in the number format, you can easily convert, right? But when you actually pass the string itself in the string format, can you convert a string into the number or the integer? Is it possible to convert a string into the number? No, right? There is no significance, right? There is no value for a, there is no value for b, there is no value for c, right? We cannot convert any string into the number, correct? So obviously this line will give you the exception here. Let's see the output, what exception it gives. Okay, start inside try block. Here in this line, after printing the inside try block, it tried to execute this line number 10, right? The exception happened, and then it went to the inside catch block for input string abc. E dot get message is for input string message and end. So if you want to see the complete message, error message, e dot print stack trace. Okay, let's try to run the program again. You see the difference, no? Inside catch block end, and then it is printing this much. So this is all the stack trace. That means how the exception is happening. What exception is happening here? It is the number format exception, because we were not able to convert the string into the number. So for that matter, there is a number format exception which is already in Java, right? So that exception is thrown, but at what line number? At the line number 10. If you see here, line number 10. This type of exceptions are very common when you are actually working on the real-time projects. It is very common, and that's where you need to fix, you need to understand and then fix the problem, right? This is how exactly the logs will look like when there is an exception. So what you need to do is, like this, there will be some hundreds of lines will be there. The thing that you need to do is, at what line number it is giving the exception. If you see here itself, there are four classes with the four line numbers in the number format exception dot java class 65, and integer dot java class 652, and integer dot java class 770. These three are the Java inbuilt classes. We have not written these classes, so we don't know what they are. If you want to go and see what they are, you can just click on it, right? See, the integer dot Java class is open. You can go on then See what is there at the line number 652 or 770, right? But in most of the cases, you don't have to look at those classes. You always have to look at what is happening within our class, within the code that we have written. So, what is the class that we have written here? It is the class yes. At what line number? 10. Just click on it, it will go to the line number 10. Immediately, it will show okay, number format exception. We should understand what this integer.parseInt does. So this will try to parse the numbers in the string format to integer. But here we are passing the string. So this is obviously failed. So we should try to fix what is the correct value. That's how we need to debug it. Right? Any doubts here? Can I move on? PQRS. So here I try to put something. S out of between try catch. Is this possible? Will it work?
No.
It will not work. That is what I was mentioning because we should not put anything between the try and catch block. We should not put anything between the try and catch block. So that is the reason it is immediately giving the error. See, catch are finally accepted because try is always expect its pair, its couple. Okay, so it cannot stay alone. Try always expects a catch block or the finally block. We are yet to learn about the finally block, but for now it always expects either catch or finally block. So when you put something in between, it will assume that try is a different and catch is a different thing. So it will not try to understand. Right? That's the reason it will fail. If you see catch, the exception here, catch without try. So it is saying we are putting the catch block without the try block because it is not immediate to the try block. If you just comment out this one, everything will fall in place. Clear? Now you understand. Similarly, there are some combinations. Can you put the try block, sorry, catch block without the try block? No, you cannot put. Can you put the try block without the catch block? No, you cannot put, right? So when you are putting try block, the catch block is mandatory. So I will try to add one table here, the combinations. New file, catch combinations. This will not work this way. Okay, I'll send you later this one. We'll go to the programs only. So the one that we're talking about, finally block. Let's learn about the finally block. Yes, T U. I equal to n by 0. So as soon as you put try the finally a catch block. Here what is exception? We know that it is the arithmetic exception. Is sort of here directly print the object itself. Finally yes sort of finally block. This is how the finally block can be written. You just need to write the finally keyword and then open close. Okay, let's understand how this works. So here the exception occurs. Inside catch block. Okay. Here the exception happens or not? Exception happens because we are trying to divide a 10 by 0. So catch block will execute. So this will be executed and this will be executed. Let's see how the finally block will be behaving here. Inside catch block, and then because of this E we are getting this message and then we are getting the finally block. So that means finally block will execute after the try catch block in the normal flow. Let's say for example here there is no exception happens. What will happen now? Only the finally block executed, right? Catch block did not execute and then try block has executed successfully. We did not put anything to see. We can put try block end. Okay, if you run it again you can see this, right? Try block end and finally block. So that means finally, finally, please try to relate with the simple English language, right? So finally block executes always irrespective of the exception happens or not. Okay, finally block executes always, very important thing. Finally block be the last block after try catch. Please notice this should be the last block. This block cannot be between try and catch or before try or something like that. No, it should be always in the end. Last after either try catch, there is a meaning here, or after try block. I'll explain you why I'm putting this statement like this. Finally block will be executed just before terminating the program, irrespective of exception is heard or not, and exception is handled or not. I'll write another program exactly the same way. Say for example, I'll remove the finally block. So I was saying catch block is mandatory for try block, right? Earlier it was not actually the catch block. Try block always expects either a finally or catch block. That's what I had shown you with the error message, right? So this is how it looks like. So if you are putting the try block, you should keep the either catch block or the finally block as a mandatory. But if you are putting catch or finally, you should not put anything in between. Again, see, this has become a separate thing. This has become a separate thing. Catch or finally expected. Clear? When you are writing the try block, either catch block or finally block are mandatory. While writing try block, either catch block or finally block is mandatory. What is the use of finally block? Finally block is used to execute any piece of code just before the termination of the program. If you want to execute anything just before the termination of the program, then you can put it in the finally block. Usually in real time scenarios, there are a lot of things you will understand later, right? Like closing the database connections, closing the resources and all, right? The clearing out the cache, all such piece of code can be put it in the finally block. So when the application is closing or when the application is getting terminated, it has to close everything. We should not keep any resources open. You might not be able to understand completely what is this resources and all at this moment, but you will understand soon. Okay. For now, please try to understand. This is the main advantage of this, and this is how the finally block can be implemented.
One doubt for you.
Yes.
Instead of final block, also we can use SOT. SOT also it will give the execution. That
Where here?
here without finally
Hmm.
finally block, we will give SOT. Then
SOT.
it will execute.
Okay. So
Is there any use?
yes, finally block will be executed just before terminating the program, irrespective of the exception is happened or not and exception is handled or not. There is a meaning, there is a relevance with your question. If you want to execute anything, you are saying you want to put after try catch block, right?
Yes.
Correct. So what happens is, if you directly put, let's say there is no exception happened. If there is no exception happens, execution will follow normally. But if the exception happens, it goes to the catch block. Let's say that exception is not handled properly, right? Or maybe another best answer for that is there is something called.
What I'm telling to uh,
Tell
thing
me.
is try catch block is there, but
Okay,
additionally you used finally block and before program.
right.
Is it necessary or SOT also it will give the finally if you print finally block it will give. Uh,
Okay,
that's what I'm asking.
I am getting your question. I'll write another simple program quickly. VW. If I can explain it in the program, it will be easy for you to understand. For now, let's remove everything, all the piece of code. Here I'll try to have both. Okay. try catch finally. Okay. So when there is an exception happens or not, these are the various combinations, right? I wanted to put finally block, and but you are saying you wanted to put after try catch block. Yes, out. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So let's say exception happens here in the try block. What will
Will
happen when the exception happens in the try block? And if it is handed, it will go to the catch
catch.
block, right? And then
Yes.
it will go to the finally block. And then, as you said, whatever you put inside the thing, it will execute, right?
Yes.
But when there is no try block, there is no catch block, and there is only finally block. Okay, whatever you put after finally block or after catch block, it will not be executed. See, this finally block will execute just before termination of the program. That means if this block is getting executed, that means there is no further code will be executed. That is the final thing. Maybe another better example is system.exit. Zero. S out of 1. Okay. Here S out of E. Here S out of finally block. After finally. The system.exit is to exit our program manually. That means we are exiting the program at this step by writing this line of code system.exit of 0. This is the only place where we can skip the finally block. Okay, so that means program will get terminated here itself. If we run the program, see after one the program is terminated. Here there is no exception happened, no finally, and even after finally also is not executed, right? So it doesn't mean that whatever you want to execute you should not put it after the thing. You can put it, it will work, but the better practice is finally block. You can put it. Your question is you want to use yes out, right? Whatever the piece of code that you want to put within the finally block, you can put it after the try catch block. That will work, but the better way is finally block. Clear?
Clear.
Hmm. So this is all about the exceptions, right? We learned about the throw keyword, throws keyword, checked, unchecked, finally block.
Throws keyword you didn't tell.
Throws I told.
You just mentioned in programs you didn't use throws. Throw only we use.
Here it is there, right? Is there, right? This piece of code is exactly same as this piece of code. You can use either try catch or throws keyword. The better way is to use the try catch block instead of the throws. Clear? Any other doubts in these exceptions? We'll move to the next topic. This topic will take more time. Okay, the next topic is multi-threading. Probably we'll start in the fresh class completely tomorrow. Okay, I'll stop it here. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. I don't know how much practice you are doing. I don't have to recommend multiple times, insist you multiple times. I hope all of you are doing enough practice. How many of you have done these practice programs? All programs. How many of you?
Raghu, from my end, last two classes are pending. The remaining all practice done from my end.
Okay. Others? I had added this practice programs, right? Around around 400 programs. How many of you have completed all these programs? No one has completed. Who has completed what? At least tell me. Tell me at least if you have completed at least one folder here, one package here.
I completed 3 folders.
Great.
1, 2, 3.
One, two, three. Okay, great. Anybody else? More than three? No one? Anybody with the two? No one with two? Anybody with one?